o'clock, so let's call the meeting in order, stand for the pledge, if you please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Stuff together here. So we've got one of the three people to be recognized, a Fairhaven student. So we'll get you, and then if you get, you can bug out if you'd like. Eli, oh, look, of course it's on the bottom. Eli Charlton, and we're just thrilled by what you did with the permitting and with the whole process you went through and the way you stuck to it, and makes us. It's a great program, and you're the first, if I'm not mistaken, and certainly a shining example of what can happen. And we really do appreciate it. Select Board really appreciate your whole internship and everything else that went with it. And you should be very proud to have those licenses under your belt. That's really cool. So thank you very much, and we just wanted to give you this little token of our appreciation, which doesn't come with any money, but thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is what we call a speech.
Yeah.
Eli?
Yep.
Could you tell us what licenses you received from the state?
Credentialing.
Yeah.
I have a pollution abatement facility offered grade 1 license for the state of Vermont.
Yep. And what does that mean for people like me who don't understand that?
It means I can go into most small plants around Vermont and become an assistant operator.
Wonderful.
Very good.
Great. As a senior in high school, that's a pretty huge achievement.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That is a huge achievement.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot, man.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for coming in. We'll catch up with the other two when they get here. In the meantime,
I hope people heard that on TV, because there's a lot of people that listen on TV and would like to know that exactly what Eli got and what he can do with it.
amendments to the agenda.
I have one amendment today. We'd like to amend under new business C, in addition to the Economic Development Committee, we would like to add Mr. Liam Laramie.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We gotta be unanimous until somebody else shows up.
It was William Laramie.
Liam.
Liam. Got it.
Approval, approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of May 30th as written.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Additions, deletions, corrections.
There was one, when I think I led the group into that mistake, when I said something about, on page 3, under parking lot, where it's the Chairman Richards zoning regulations, and there's a public hearing scheduled for the 12th. Well, that public hearing is the 21st. You took the minutes correctly. I think I looked at the 21st and said the 12th in our last meeting, but I don't want people not knowing that we have the first pass of the zoning bylaws at their regular planning commission meeting. You'll be taking your first meeting on that. So.
All right, that's next week, isn't it?
The 21st next week,
Yeah.
next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, yep. Good.
So that's the only.
And that's at
change.
7 o'clock, but the meeting starts at 4:15 because we get some organizational things to do. But you won't miss much. Anything else? Zoning? Or I mean the minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Chad.
5 minutes for public comment. John?
The tires at 38 West Street are all gone. Tires. And some of the garbage left the corner of Phelps and West Street. It was gone Monday morning when I went by. I don't know where it went, but anyway. And then the next thing is, do we have a speed limit on West Street anymore?
Should, no.
Because it's not being adhered to by anybody.
We'll make that, the chief
Yeah,
aware of that.
We got a red pickup pulling a party boat, 50, 60 miles an hour.
Saw another guy doing the coal thing, whatever, however you say it, burning coal or whatever that's. You saw him going down through there pretty good the other day.
Every day.
There's quite a few people around town that are,
Then there's that kid on the motorcycle doing about 90.
Well, that black one,
Yeah, well, one of them's black, yeah.
well, he only goes down to that away Avenue.
Well, he's still going 90 miles an hour down West Street till he gets there.
Okay. We will
Pass that one
ask
on
the,
to
ask the police department to, set up and, anything else, John?
No, I'm really proud of Mr. Charlton, I'll tell you that right now.
It's pretty good. It's a
I'm
pretty-
surprised he didn't stay a little longer, but then again, knowing the Charlton family
Well-
well.
Probably got something to do, and you know what? There's,
Got a fire meeting there.
this is a weird hobby.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Okay, anybody else for public comment? Okay. Department head reports. You guys want to report, or you're gonna talk when you got anything above and beyond budget you wanna enlighten us on? You're welcome to.
You got anything on yours? Okay. Things are running pretty smoothly up at the plant. I have volunteered with the state to do a cyanotoxin study, which means I have to take certain samples at a certain time each week, and they're gonna pick them up. Normally it's been Lake Champlain, but this year they broadened it to ponds. They don't know for sure. Down the road, it might be mandatory for everybody, but right now they're like in a planning phase. So I figured I'd hop in there and see where we stand to start with before all kinds of rules and regulations come up. And just looking forward to having a quiet summer.
Good luck with that.
Can I ask Mike a question while he's there? Well, what about the lead water line project that the state wants you to complete?
Well, Joe and I have talked. There are state loans, federal loans out there with forgiveness for, what was it, 87% of it or whatever. We put not feelers, but we've had put requests out to engineering companies. We've gotten one back, which, knock on wood, is way under what the top amount of the loan would be for, so that was a good sign. Usually it's way over.
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't know if you've heard back from the one that you talked to yet.
we got 2 quotes back now.
Okay. And that
That's a
has,
mandated thing, right?
yes, October of next year has to be done. And the quicker we get this done and get this company lined up, whoever it may be, because come next year, everybody's gonna be like, oh God, we gotta get this done, and they're gonna be very busy.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And the reason I brought that up is because I know where there's 2, not far from where I live.
No, I'm sure there's some. I mean, it was the way of the world 100 years back.
Lead turns white underground.
Well, so does galvanized.
But not that white.
Well, we should get after it.
Yes, we are as soon as, or as fast as we
It
can.
hasn't been good for big towns that found it.
No.
The next question I had about that, I was gonna ask that later, is, are there any, there's loans to find out we have it, are there any loans to help homeowners
Fix it.
fix it?
I don't have any inside information on that, but I imagine they're gonna move in that direction. That seems to be what they're doing.
Let's talk to our representative.
Right now, they want to find them, so
Yeah.
after that,
Yeah, so they know what the scope of it is.
exactly how big of a issue it is in the state.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's probably gonna shock.
I mean, every 5 years, we have to do a lead and copper test anyways. And we do 10, well, we take like 12 or 13 random samples and then, send 10 of them into the state. And we've been fortunate that we haven't had any hits over, the MCL, the high limit, so.
When you put all these new meters in, did you notice any lead service?
In all honesty, I wasn't paying attention. This would have been great to know 5 years ago. I could have had pictures of every one and we'd be done right now. We wouldn't have to worry about it.
But, I don't think there's that many. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Lot of galvanized, but
there's a lot of galvanized. Yeah.
And they're with the rules and the state doesn't even know what's gonna happen. They're still figuring, or the feds don't even know what is happening, so the state's still trying to work the rules down to us where we can deal with it. They're talking about lead or galvanized with lead goosenecks are okay as long as the gooseneck's only X amount of feet long, and so yeah, I can see within the next 15, 20 years there could be a lot of holes in period.
Well, I was lucky with mine. Well, we dug out front by the shut off and hitched my galvanized pipe to the copper pipe in the cellar, wrapped it a few times, and pulled it back through and hitched it out.
we're lucky.
Put an end to the rainbow on the lawn.
Am I up?
Yep, you're on.
Hey, Carrie might have something. Carrie, is there anything going on in New Hampshire that we need to know about?
Putting you on the spot.
Yep.
So I was contacted by Green Mountain Water Association today, and they have an operator exchange program, and they picked me to be in the operator exchange program. So it's 3 days in September. I'll go to New Hampshire for 3 days, go to their conference, and then go to a bunch of plants that are down there.
Oh, cool.
So it's totally paid for by Green Mountain Water.
Great.
What,
Show them your knowledge.
what city or what area? I don't know if it was southern New Hampshire or northern New Hampshire.
I just know it's New Hampshire, and then they're gonna cover all costs. I'll get to go to, I think, 5 different plants, and then they're gonna pay for the conference too.
Great, come back with some great
Yeah.
ideas.
Vermont will be hosting an operator from them, but I don't think it's gonna be in our area. I think they're going to Burlington.
They usually do.
Good, great.
Good. Well, can't think of a better ambassador.
Thanks. It's exciting. I think a lot of it has to do with the program that we've been working on with trying to get people interested in the field. I think that's what's really kind of bringing attention to.
Be in touch.
Yeah. Well, you've got a great example, so.
And they've actually, Vermont Rural Water wants to use our plant as a teaching facility.
Cool.
They've been down a few times, and Paula Jackson said that our plant is just spectacular. It's set up perfect for teaching, and they're probably gonna bring some classes down there.
Well, I'm glad the engineers did something right. Why wouldn't it be that way?
And shining too.
Well, that's good. That's nice when tax dollars do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry to put you on the spot.
Thanks.
See, you should blow your own horn, what the hell?
That's right. If you don't know somebody else will.
So my report's gonna be a little sparse. It's been a busy couple of weeks. And I really didn't take the time to write it down, so I'm sorry. But, we can start with the police department. The big thing with the chief stopped in earlier today, said we did have a line of break-ins over here on Carnarvon and then down North Main. They did pick up the person and apparently it's this gentleman confessed, so they got the guy who was breaking into the cars. A couple more break-ins were reported, but we think that those are just people coming home and realizing, oh, my car was broken into. So there was that. I will ask the chief to go look at West Street, maybe put the speed card out there.
That works good. See, they slow down till they get to the police car, to the car, speed car. And after that, it's wide open again, all the rest of the way down the street. So if we put the speed car way down by the dump road there or something like that, at least it'll slow them down for a ways.
No, it works on River Street at the end of Brooklyn Heights, so they come to a screeching halt.
For DPW, you'll see the guys, last week they did the dig out in front of Town Hall. They installed the main from the 6-inch water line from the main, from the shutoff into the building. This was part of our match for this project. So that line is installed and it's down there now. We're waiting on the sprinkler company we snapped them a picture and sent it off to them. We're asking the sprinkler company to just tell us how they want us to secure it to the building, whether it's a pedestal underneath or some concrete or just some rod into the structure. So we're waiting on that, so that way they can hook up the sprinkler system here.
Usually some sort of block.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. Yeah, we wanted to ask though, just
Yep.
not do something and then,
Oh, yeah.
you know how it is. The guys have been kind of picking away at some of the smaller things in between projects. So for example, we talked about the stop sign. Was it on Furnace? They cleared the stop sign on Furnace. They've been patching holes. We got a little bit of grass seed out on a property that we had touched
On 4th Street.
on
yeah.
4th Street. Yeah, we ditched last year, early this year. So some of the small things are finally getting picked away at. Clean the sidewalk over on Academy Street.
That made
They
a
do
big
that?
difference.
They did that. Yeah, they did.
When they do that?
He told me today. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it was earlier today. It might have been.
That reminded me, I was gonna mention that.
It was looking a little rough. So he said
I
he
got
took.
one for you, Joe. When you're coming down to the post office, you wanna go up the hill, you can't see down the hill because of the brush. Before you get to the Ruby place, when you Ruby Hill, it's growing back out over the sidewalk there on the trees. You can't see the traffic coming up the hill.
I'll call the owner and see if I can get him trim that back.
Oh, yeah, okay.
If not, we'll do it.
I know, I didn't
Yeah.
mention anything.
All right, I'll wait to hear. And then for my office, we've been doing it that time of year, so we've been kind of buttoning up things for the end of the fiscal year, a lot of requisitions. So for example, Town Hall, we're asking that organization to send us some of the cash back, or not our match, but the grant funds that they owe us. A lot of reporting going on. On the 22nd, we'll meet with VCDP to do a monitoring, not on site, but it's virtual monitoring for our program for this project. And for this project, you'll see in front of you, there's a spreadsheet with some green on it. That's just for your information. It shows what's been spent to date and then what's remaining. The bottom right corner is what the amount of money that's remaining in the project. And then the green line above that with the number, that's how much has been spent to date.
And we're feeling pretty good about the money that's remaining to get.
They're both the same numbers, is that right?
306,263 is the one I'm looking at, right?
Correct. Yep, expenses total and expenses, and that's remaining.
Okay.
Oh, that's a coincidence. Yeah, but no,
That's what it's gonna cost.
I'm expecting to land somewhere between $20,000 and $40,000 in the green. It depends on, if we're gonna put in an additional light, and if there's another door we gotta drop in, that's gonna be a little bit of an expense as well. But, yeah, we'll get it done, at or under budget.
That'll be nice.
Is that this project?
That's the town hall project.
Report that to the citizens and taxpayers. Very good.
And really, that's what I got for you. It's been tough to keep track of what's going on with all the work, so. Any questions?
Yeah. You gonna surprise us with something you didn't tell us about?
I hope not.
Me too.
Oh, yes, I am. There you go.
Yeah.
I did have some communications. Made me think of it. Let me see who is it. Mary Phelps. She's a trustee of public funds, and Mary is moving to Essex Junction. So Mary is resigning as a trustee of public funds. And Chaz, the gentleman that was here last time talking about the parking in front of the church, Chaz Coletti, he sent a letter just asking the town of Fairhaven to provide handicap parking signs, and then have it be permitted on Allen Street on Saturday mornings.
Saturday or Sunday morning?
Allen Street, Saturday mornings for our Fairhaven community breakfast.
Oh.
And Sunday mornings for church worship.
And Sunday, Saturday and Sunday.
And you sent the ordinance, the DCD ordinance? Has he seen that yet?
I sent Chaz the ordinance, so Chaz was in 2 years ago or 1 year ago, and asked him, well, he sent him the ordinance then, and I think I sent him the email that I had sent him previously. And I got a response from VLCT Legal saying it's not the town's responsibility to make sure they're compliant. So I sent him the legal response as well.
I was thinking that on Sunday in particular, although this may be mixing church and state, but it might not be a bad thing if for a couple weeks that our officer that's on Sunday swing down there and just kind of see if we can make things comfortable for those guys to get in and out. You know, I mean, that wouldn't be outrageous. It would amount to 15 minutes either side of the service. You know.
Just to slow traffic so they can get across
So
safely.
they can get across, you know, no different than.
Yeah, because
at school.
there's really no place to put handicap
No,
parking
there
signs
isn't.
up or anything. It just pretty much,
No parking here at corner stop too.
yeah, it's pretty
Right.
much,
Right, and
there's
it's,
just no place to park.
right, and, you
Slow
know,
traffic down.
when that church was built, nobody needed parking.
Horses.
Yeah. And
So-
most of them walked to church.
How did we leave it?
Some of our streets are getting.
I just don't want them to think that they sent you something, we've got some communication. Are they coming in and we're gonna finish it up with this is our decision? Or are we are we saying, I just wanna make sure I'm clear where we are. Cause when they zoomed in at the last meeting, he was gonna send you something and they wanted us to consider something. Now, to my knowledge, we as a board haven't, we've gotten what VLCT says we
And
should
we've
do.
got our ordinance.
And we've got our ordinance, but are you looking, and cause I didn't, the parking, on North Main, are we going to discuss it there, under the new business, somehow,
Yeah, we
I wanna make sure we just don't have people thinking someone else is, and there's a decision that's gonna be made, and we haven't made one. If we're gonna make a decision, I think we should make a decision, but whatever that is.
I think
Or
that-
say we don't have enough information, but we need to,
I think that's fair. I
Finish
think
it.
we'll discuss it in new
Okay.
business when
we get there, okay.
when we get there and reform this discussion very soon.
One last question for you, because last couple meetings, we were talking about the beaver and Scotch Hill and the culvert. I would remiss if I didn't say, on Scotch Hill, how are we doing up there?
Yeah. Well, we're good as long as we have a drought.
Yeah, I have no update for Scotch Hill. Although I did learn that we did not receive the grant this year.
Again?
Our class 2 paving's not gonna happen.
Class 2 paving didn't come in.
Well, how many years in a row is that?
This is
This is
six-
3, right?
No, this is 6 or 7.
Just at least 6 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's been a long, long
Okay.
It's at least 6 years.
Let's,
We sent a letter to Bill before.
yeah, let's get with the highway department and find out what the problem is. Let them come to us and tell us. This is getting ridiculous.
You mean
Those are-
state highway?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, this is a rotating like 3 years, is that what
No, it's anywhere 5 or 6 years.
5 to 6
but-
years
But
is
we're
the
on
timeline.
we're on the far end of it.
We're on the
at this
upper
point.
end.
yeah, I guess we are.
Had a guy complain that he didn't think he'd get from Scotch Hill exit 3 to the state park last year because it was so rough.
Well, it's not any better. Well, part of it's better.
We have a little bit, put a
But not-
Band-Aid on one piece.
But I'm more worried about the people that live up there. They, you know,
Everyday
like,
people, yeah.
they're going the other way sometimes to get, they're going through Castleton to get to Fairhaven because it's so rough, especially in the wintertime.
I don't go that way to visit my sister-in-law for quite a while anymore.
Okay, and just the way I mean that.
I would love to hear from the highway, from the the state.
Yeah.
This is getting ridiculous. I don't think we've ever waited 6 years. I really don't. I could be wrong.
Is this
We
a
can prove me wrong, but-
paving grant or what?
Yeah,
It's a
the
paving.
class
grant.
2 paving grade, I was under the impression it was every 3 years, but I've been wrong before. Honest, once.
Is there any opportunity to approach the department in charge of the state parks? To see if there's any help or funding from them instead of transportation?
Well, I think it'll come from transportation, but the idea is sound that they would want a good access,
Yeah.
you know, and if they can be part of that, that would be nice, part of
Maybe-
the lobbying.
Come up with a grant for us to move the highway away from the big step up there, the corridor.
Well, right now, it's,
But we've been
We
waiting, my concern is we've been waiting so long for the paving grant to do the portion that they've engineered, they've marked out at the upper end. By the time we get it, the rest of Scotch Hill is getting bad. We're gonna be starting the whole 6-year process all over again because it's not fixing everything from the interstate to the other end. It's only a small area that we've been
and that paving grant
putting in.
can go any place
Yeah.
in town. That's the problem, you know, and class 2.
Only class 2.
Any class 2 road, but I'm just saying that something may come up that may necessitate us having to go someplace else with that money, and we need to get that road fixed.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't think the state's being very cooperative.
That's all I got for
Is
you.
that all?
Yeah, I know,
Can't
you called
complain.
me out too, something else? No?
No, I'm sorry.
I always do that.
Okay, there's no old business, so we've talked about the lead line forgivable loan. Is there anything else you need to add to that, or?
I think he needs a motion.
No, right now, I guess I'm waiting on Joe if we need one more, or decide who's gonna get it and get it finished and then.
I need to get, so for this project, I need to get at least one more quote, because it's gonna be over this, and there's only so many people in the state that does this.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But there is the loan, I do have the loan document here. What we've seen is the numbers that have been quoted us are less than the total loan, which means it should be entirely forgiven. You know, we're not there yet, knock on wood, but it looks like we're sitting in a good spot.
So from us, are you looking for a motion to accept the loan document?
To accept the, what are we calling this? The Vermont Drinking Water State Revolving Loan Fund Service Line Inventory Loan.
Got all that?
It's right here.
Yeah, what he said, I'll make that motion.
Second.
And then I could use some signatures.
Everybody understand what we're doing? All those in favor?
Title.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Boy, got there. That's a mouthful. Okay. And use some signatures.
It's nice that the state's mandating
Just make sure
something
everybody-
actually
Everybody, looks like
Mm,
that's
actually,
involved on the first page and everybody else.
definitely different. Well, I think the feedback is starting to hit home finally, but they got more they could do in terms of mandates.
Wait a minute.
I don't think so. I'm not waiting any time. We are talking about parking on North Main Street again too, for some odd reason.
Good Lord. Thank you.
Yours is on that page, the others are on that page.
And you guys are here. Someplace there. You can put it all together. So, parking on North Main Street, we started this discussion.
I only had one question. I saw the emails going back with Vermont League of City and Town saying, no, we're within the ordinance, of what their attorney said. I understand, if I understand correctly, the request that they're making is, hey, could we have 1 or 2 handicap parking spaces? Is that a accurate reflection of
It is. But
what they're, go ahead.
if I could just very quickly,
Okay.
Chaz and his, the other young lady at the parish said they would like to postpone the discussion.
Oh, okay.
And I said, well, it's up to the board. So it's up to the board to want to choose to postpone it or not. But I said I would bring it to you and ask.
Because they'd like to come and talk, so that we could answer some, I don't
see
wanna-
where we really have any leeway. If you go up there and look, there's really no place to even do one if you look at the ordinance and then try to find a place to put a parking spot.
So when we put the signs up there, I went and read through the ordinance. It said something like 70 feet on the North
Allen
Main and like 90 feet on the other side.
And-
I just wanna make sure, are the signs that we have up there, are they 70 feet and 90 feet? Because I think, I was trying to remember when on Zoom, he said something like 200 feet, and I'm going, boy, that's a lot farther than what I'm reading in the ordinance. So I just, well, it could have been just throwing some feet out there, I don't know. But I'm just saying, are we comfortable that the signage we have is, someone went up with a tape and measured back 70 feet, is that where our sign says don't park?
It's, Aaron put these signs in, I want to say last year or the year before. And yeah, I'm comfortable with.
Okay, so it's
those
signed,
things.
it's signed correctly.
Yeah.
So our response, I thought before, was saying, just like we did a year ago, when they had the same request, hey, look, you can come and offload, you just need to move and park either across the street or
Yeah. 'Cause there's
70 or 90 feet, whatever the ordinance says. Okay.
And I don't think it would be unreasonable to have some police presence there when they're doing that, if he can figure out when their services start and when they end. And I mean, just for a little bit, just so people get used to the fact that there's gonna be people moving in and out of there. I know Saturday they've got their breakfast once a month.
And again, I don't want to beat this dead horse too much, but let me a little bit.
However,
They asked
here's a
Joe,
stick to beat the lonely horse.
they asked Joe to couldn't be here for whatever reason, and would like to be able to come, sit right there and talk to us. And I like to think any taxpayer who wants to come in and sit right there and talk to us. We don't have to rush to this is our decision right here today. Let's let them come in and give them, we can
fine.
tell them, and we can sit and look them right in the eye and say, this is, I don't know if we forwarded the email that we got from our attorney to them, but probably that's what I would guess. We did, and I just think, what do we have to lose when they're saying they'd like to come and talk to us and and all they asked was for us to move it out.
Well, we can be polite, but I mean, we rarely have such a cut and dry decision to make, so I hate that. But I have no problem with them. And we can just table it until then if everybody's okay with it. The ordinance isn't gonna change before they talk to us again.
The only possible thing, and I don't even know if this is possible, but a thought I just had was 70 feet. At that 70 feet mark, you could just place one
A
handicap.
handicap park,
There.
it's not.
That's it.
To your point, at 90 feet, put a handy, because if anyone else comes down and parks
You can't go any
before
closer
then,
than these ordinances
they
say.
have lost that ability. To me, that's giving away the sleeves of your vest. But I mean, again, that's something we can talk. They may sit here and say, that doesn't help me.
I'm
Well, then-
almost sure they will.
But I'm not gonna assume what they're
70
gonna say.
feet.
I'd rather have them come in and say, hey, look, it's not that we're
You know,
rushing to judgment or anything like that. Here's what the rules
maybe they
are.
don't have, if they come to the meeting, maybe they got another different idea too they want to discuss.
I just,
Everybody comfortable with tabling it until they
Yes.
get
Yes.
in?
Yes.
Okay,
I'd like
all
to.
right, then that's what we'll do. And if everybody gets a chance to go down there and look.
I've been there, I stopped there and walked both ways.
Yeah.
It's,
70 feet's a long way, so, but maybe that'll be a comfortable compromise. All right, so addition to the EDC.
Oh, yeah, so we had a Mr. Liam Laramie come to the EDC meeting last night. He sat in and we didn't scare him away. He was interested in joining the committee, and I think, and Glenn would, he'll remind me, I think the EDC voted to recommend it.
We did. Now Liam is going to school. Just so you understand, we sat there and talked to him and said, Liam, why are you here? I mean, if you don't, I mean, really, why? I mean, we'd love to have you. We don't turn volunteers away. But you're gonna, I mean, why'd you want to be? He says, well, I'm an economics student. I'm an economics major. And I want to really help my resume out I'm at least a good year that I can give the EDC, and Chad's on the EDC too. And he said, I'd like to, I think it'd look good on my resume. And I'm saying, good, help us out. We can help him out. It seemed like a win-win. I don't know if you had anything you want to add, Chad.
No, fresh perspective. Never
Yeah.
hurts.
So we look forward. So the EDC is recommending to the board to add him, and we just happen to we can have 5 members. Joe's an ex officio member, so we only have 4. Liam would make 5, and it's been a long time since we've had 5 members on the EDC, so that's a good thing.
Is that in the form of a motion?
Yes, I didn't know as chair whether I should make that
Well,
motion.
sure,
No,
why not? Or I don't care. You wanna make it?
Motion.
So move. Second.
Second?
That was good.
You got that, Claire?
Yep. Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Perfect.
It would have been good if everybody just nodded at that one.
Yeah.
All in favor?
She loves that when we do that. She loves when we nod. Okay. Moving right along. Water budget.
It's not big enough. Starting strong.
Okay, I can see this one take a while.
No, I'm a taxpayer in town too, I understand.
I mentioned before the meeting that we don't doubt you guys shop, but we wanted to hear it out loud, because of the different price increases. So if you wanted to start with that discussion, then we can go into,
Okay, I know since I've started, practices in the past have always been you just order it from whatever company because we have an account there. Since I've started, I do shop around. I got 3 different chemical companies that I got prices for. Not every company sells all the chemicals that we use, and I know Carrie uses some of the same things, or at least one. Alan, is the only one you use?
I don't use them.
You don't?
I use Epic.
Caustic?
I use Epic. But
Chlorine we use, right?
on that point though, you use Elm and I use Epic, and from Holland, they're giving us a $100 discount on delivery. I talked to them yesterday, if we order at the same time,
Yep,
because it's a dual tanker truck, so it can haul both chemicals on it.
And I talked to Mike also, and even if it's not a full load, but if they come up here and I only need 700 out of the 1,000 that is their minimum order, it would benefit them because they didn't have to come up again for an extra 300 gallons type of thing.
So if you folks work together when you order,
Right, as long as we can get our.
I only get it twice a year.
And we get it, now with the new tanks, of course, it's gonna be a learning curve for a year or so, but before it was a 3,500 gallon tank, we got delivered once a year. I'm guessing we're not gonna use anymore, just a couple extra deliveries with 1,000 gallon tanks. So we should be able to at least match up one or two of our deliveries.
So then, because I think our discussion with sewer last time was saying that the price of the chemicals went up 100%, and we were anticipating them going up and again, and the only thing we said, okay, that's sticker shock, and we're saying, first, is there someplace else? Are we getting the best? Yeah, we gone back and said, hey, that's ridiculous. And the other one is, on every scale, there's a max and min usually. Are we putting the maximum amount of chemicals, and is there one where we can meet the requirement and not use as much of the chemicals? I'm just looking to keep that price tag where the increase, it looked like, was over 12% for water, and I'm going, that's a pretty good hit.
Caustic is huge.
So
It's over $5 a gallon now, and as you can see by the three prices that I've got, it's, everybody is the same, so I mean, that's not just one company saying, oh, I'm gonna get you because you're a town. That's.
Everybody, all the rest of the places are.
Right, and as I explained to Joe also, the farther away you get, then you're gonna be paying more for shipping. And a lot of companies coming that far, I won't be able to get their minimum deliveries because I only have 1,000 gallon tank.
I mean, if I'm looking at the operating supplies line that was fiscal year 23, we had the 20,000, and I looked at 40,000 for the next budget year. I'm going, that's.
What line are you on?
I'm under water treatment facility, and the third one down, which is 020 6380 21.
Yep. I mean, I just got my first 1,000 gallon delivery on caustic. And we're talking over $5,000 of delivery times 3, and that's not counting alum and hypochlorite, which is your chlorine. You're talking over $20,000 a year just in chemicals now.
But there were only questions. I know nothing about nothing when it comes to chemicals, but I'm saying, when you talked about you can send both and get a $100 discount, okay, that's, I don't care, start to sharpen the pencil and start bringing them back.
Right.
The other one was saying, if we're bringing in, if you pay in bulk, do I get another discount? And what's the active life, and can I buy them in bulk if I'm gonna use, go ahead.
Yeah, can I speak to that? Part of the problem with dealing with buying in bulk is we can't. Our chlorine room, the way it's set up, that's the two main chemicals that we use are bisulfite and chlorine. We have, the chemicals that we have to be within our containment. So our containment area only allows for a certain amount of drums. The one chemical that we get, the bisulfite, cannot be delivered in bulk. It has to be in 55 gallon drums. So I can only get 6 drums at a time. That's why we go with Allen. Allen's the only company that will deliver 6 drums of bisulfite at a time. Our hypo is we buy that in bulk, but again, it's only 6 55 gallon drums. That's all I can keep. So, and the other problem with that is hypo has a shelf life. So it's based on temperature, time, and light. So I can't do more than 6. The other problem with the hypo is Slack used to manufacture it, which Slack is a company in New York. They had a problem at their plant, they can no longer manufacture it. So most of the hypo is coming out of Canada now. So that price is going to go nuts. We don't even really know. John gave me updated pricing yesterday, and it looks like it's only gonna go up 15 cents, but that's all he can guarantee for right now.
And that's basically your next
Next
delivery.
delivery.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm just concerned that we're huge jump, make a decision on worst case scenario,
Mhm.
and we come back and go back and look at our water and sewer payers and say, sorry, we charged you too much. We thought it was going to be this high, and we still took that once we set the rate. So I'm concerned that we're,
Go ahead.
no, I'm just,
The opposite is exactly the same problem.
oh yeah, but I mean,
And then we're in trouble because we don't have them.
when I go back and look at my general ledger and see where I did, I'm having trouble winding up saying that we overshot these and have to raise our budget, because this was the budget we're coming in, you're doing a good job on your budgets. But the budget's coming in, I don't see that increase, so I'm just trying to understand, I'm not saying, I don't,
no, well, part of my increase too is the Epic, which is my most expensive chemical. That's the one that they're gonna give us a deal on the 100-gallon or $100 credit if we order together. I didn't see an increase for 2 years, so this past year, they really slammed me hard. So, and I don't know what they're gonna do coming forward. He gave me a price that's good out until December of this year, so I've got a half-year price. And that's, so that's pretty much what I put in my budget, was I used that number that he gave me, but he's only guaranteeing for 6 months. So then my next delivery could do the same thing. It used to be like $3,000 a load. The last 2 times it's gone to $5,000. So that's a pretty significant increase. So if they do that again to me, chemicals, I don't have a strong feel where they're going because of the market. We just don't know.
I don't think anybody does, do they?
Yeah.
Really?
And unfortunately,
You're gonna get 2 deliveries by December? Is that what you're saying?
No, I can, again, I only use about 1,500 gallons every 6 months.
Oh, okay.
So I have to get it in 2 different deliveries. And same thing, that has a 6-month shelf life.
Yeah.
So,
see, yeah, I'm just trying to understand, all because I keep looking, inflation numbers just came out, they're down to 4%, everything's going the right way, and I'm watching our costs go the other way, and saying, what's going on here? That's all.
I don't know if the chemicals are just catching up with everything that's gone up over the last 3 or 4 years, or whatever. But Mike Holland, the same one she's talking about, said my price for alum is good till basically the first of the year, and that's as far as he'll guarantee it. And I'll probably get one more delivery before the first of the year.
And how long does that last you?
It's usually 5 months, so that's why I was saying they had I'm figuring 3 deliveries a year, but depending on where it falls in the calendar year, it might only be 2. Like if it's like March and November, then the following year it might be like January, June, and December. And then both of us are in the same situation. It's not like I tell Joe all the time, I can't call him up and say, well, I'm closing the valve, I can't make water today.
Right.
That's unfortunately one of the processes that, whether it's 5,000 or 15,000, it's gotta be used. So unfortunately, chemicals is, one of the things that we have to have, and as she said, don't know where it's heading.
No, I
The other, go ahead.
I think we're just gonna have to figure a little on the high side and hope for the best.
If the numbers, I'm just trying to get the numbers right in my head. Other thing I look at, we talked in our last meeting about the capital improvement. So we're talking water, let's talk water for a minute. When I looked at the capital improvement line under water reserve allocations, that's 020 97 90 80. and it was 20,000, and for 23, fiscal week 24 is 40,000. I look at the general ledger for what we've done for capital improvement for this year, because I'm saying, okay, if that's what we need, what did we spend and why are we spending it? I would expect to see it overspent. I'm looking here with 2 weeks to go in the year, water capital improvement, 20,000 is in, we've only spent $2,772.14. Is there something
That's a reserve account though.
Okay,
That's a reserve account. Liz will move, you'll see that at the next,
But
on the next sheet, you'll see that 20,000 moved into a bank account.
but
And that'll say 100.
But I'm looking at that. I guess my point is, we're putting rainy day money away. And we've got money in rainy day accounts and everything. I'm telling you, and I'm seen to be one of the few with since this board says, it's raining. Why are you doing 40,000? Why isn't it 20,000? Why did you double it? Again, I'm just trying to get that 12.77% increase for just the water into something where if both of them, if we were sitting here looking at a budget where both of them were 5-6% increases, I'd be going, okay, they feel right, they look right when I look at the general ledger of where we are. I'm just not feeling that both of them should be going
As I told
as high as they
Joe,
are.
I mean, I could spend all that money by January 1st. So then when we come to this time of year and I'm $40,000 over budget, what are you gonna tell me?
I'm telling you not to spend, everyone's got a budget, stay within your budget.
Right.
No,
so
if that means
you
we
have
start
X
going,
amount
if we start going over our budget, for example, maybe we
We're
have
talking two
to,
different things here. We're talking two different things. The capital improvements are for capital improvements, and if we're not making, so what we did last year is we put $20,000 in.
we just bought new trucks and everything, but I think capital improvements, that's not major bond stuff that you're doing
No,
for
but
a
it's
facility.
roof on the plant, it's,
What do you have in your capital improvement fund now?
I don't know.
Well, I think before you automatically just throw a bunch more money in, wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah, but another thing I think we gotta
What do
consider
we have?
down the road is meters.
I'm sorry.
It would be handy to have.
I just don't wanna sit here, nod my head to all these numbers, and quite frankly, I've got doubts of why those numbers are that high.
But it's frustrating for me, Glenn, because what you do is you look at the bottom line, and that's all you care about. It doesn't matter if we need it or not, you just look at the bottom line.
I don't have a money tree, I go out back and pick the money off and
Neither
just
do
throw it
I.
at everything that's here in
Neither
town.
do I. I'm
Can't-
just-
Most people are having,
I get it.
taxes are high enough for this town for water and sewer, and this is just, last year we had an increase, we had a fairly good increase last year. Nothing like the increase we had last year is minor for what I look at here. That's gonna have to be, when we get down to get the rates this year. And I'm saying, if we haven't done everything in our power to get those, to make sure that money,
One of the reasons they weren't as high last year is because we did cut what we normally put in there from 40 to 20. So now we're going back, so you're getting that 100% increase in the capital improvement.
and I don't support 40 this year. I'm just telling you, when I look at, go ahead.
I have a statement on the capital improvements. Part of our plan has to be renewed, our permit this year, and so part of that is when it renews, every 4 years, you have to have an engineering study done, and they're pretty happy with our engineering study of the plant because everything was pretty much just refurbished. However, what they are going to look at and they are requesting is an engineering study of our collection system. And so what's gonna happen is we're gonna have to bring the engineers in, they're gonna do the study and they're gonna submit that to the state, and the state's gonna come back and they're gonna say, you've got major problems with your collection system. We know that based on the amount of grit that we get down at the plant, we know that there's bricks coming in. So that 20,000 that we put in every year for capital improvements is gonna be eaten up very fast when they hit collection system. I mean, we're talking, we have probably at least 10 or 12 manholes that have to be rebuilt, and a lot of the lines are gonna have to be changed out. So 20,000 going in isn't really a whole lot compared to what it's actually gonna end up costing.
But at the end of the day, we're not gonna fix all those manholes in one. We fixed 2 manholes just recently. So maybe we can't afford to do 10 manholes. Maybe we do 5 manholes instead. I'm just,
And I understand that, but the
I
problem
want,
with
but I
that,
also want to know where the other pockets of money, whether you call them reserve, water fund, capital, I want to know what's sitting there, because just blindly throwing money back in and then sitting back saying, geez, aren't we looking good? We've got $1 million sitting here. I'm not comfortable that we need to take that money. That's all. I'm
And I
not
don't
saying
think-
we don't need to
yeah.
spend it.
and the problem too with that is that it's not gonna really be our choice, because the state's gonna come in and say, you need to do it.
And you got 6 months to
And I
do
know
all
that-
15 at
Yeah,
once.
and I know that we had 200, I think we had in the water capital, we had 280 before we bought the truck.
And I think we had 220 last year. Plant needs a new roof. There's half of that right there.
But what do we have set aside? Do we have enough money for the new roof right now? Are you looking to replace the roof money that you're gonna spend putting the new roof on? Or are you saying you don't have any money?
No, I'm saying out of the 200,000 that's sitting there, I can spend half of it by signing a contract tomorrow.
And put a roof on?
And put a roof on it. We also need to start looking at 2003, they were put in our filters. One of them is blowing out sand everywhere. We got a filter that's gotta be replaced. We had a guy from Infoco come up and look at it. His estimate 4 years ago was 85,000 to rebuild a filter.
Yeah,
I mean, I can go through that $200,000 in a day.
I hear you. What I'm saying is we can't just keep taking these big increases every year. And I don't see an end in sight.
We didn't.
We
We cut 20,000 last year.
We cut, but we still increase.
Well, let me
it's
ask
not
you
an
this.
increase.
Do you want Carrie, myself, Nate, to spend that capital reserve every year and say, all right, now next year we gotta have this because this needs to be done?
I'm just saying that what on top of, we have the normal stuff, gotta fix the roof, gotta do the study, gotta do everything. But on top of that, we have twice as expensive, the bigger chunk. See, I'm not talking the $1,000 to $500 here right now. I'm talking the biggest expense you're talking is these chemicals that those are big chunks. I get it's volatile right now, but I'm just saying maybe right now, because you have some choices when you do some of the things that you do. Gotta pay the chemicals you gotta pay. How do I offset that increase for right now? Until it maybe, because I gotta believe it's gonna settle out. At least that's, because if it doesn't, I don't know how we can afford
Nothing ever goes down.
to have water and sewer. The answer isn't just automatically, let's just pay more.
We're not paying more.
But I thought that was the
you're-
point of the capital
we're not-
reserve fund.
We don't have any choice in the chemicals, which is the regular budget. The reserve accounts, or whatever you wanna call them, are anticipation of projects we know we're gonna have. And if we keep cheating back,
I'm just saying you get 200, there's a level. This board hasn't ever sat and said, here's the standard. We started the conversations of saying, reserve
I agree
account,
with you
we think
there.
this level is right here. Well, once you get there, you don't just keep putting money in the thing anyway. And once,
I agree.
and once you get there, you should feel comfortable pulling back and doing, all I'm saying is I want to see those numbers. If we need a new roof and we have the money in the reserve account, don't try to pay for it all in one setting. I think now, I'm emotional about it because I pay water and sewer both. And I'm telling you, like every other taxpayer, because not every taxpayer pays water and sewer both. And when you get all done, when you have to take and make the decisions, am I gonna pressure wash? I'd love to pressure wash my house. I just can't afford it in this town, quite frankly. No, and I've talked to other taxpayers, I have this nice jacuzzi over here. I can't afford to put the water in the thing and run the jacuzzi. Now that's the real world that we
The real
have.
world is there's no business in Fairhaven to improve the tax base.
Right.
So therefore, you, myself, Bob, no matter how much the prices are going up, we're gonna pay for it until you get more in here.
We need, the only way we keep our water and sewer rates, we need more people on water. It'd be nice to have more people helping to pay on water and sewer. We don't. I get
I
that one
understand
too.
that, so you really can't do much about it. But we're also talking apples and oranges. You're talking about the capital fund, and then you're bringing up the chemicals, that's an entirely different.
Well, again, if you wanna go line item through line item, because I had quite a few line items I had questions about.
Well,
And-
that's what we usually do, and we're wasting time talking about one thing a
So,
lot.
an accounting question. If, let's say we approve the chemical budget for what's anticipated, because we know there's gonna be an increase, and chemical prices drop and we don't spend that money, can that leftover surplus from that budget line be moved to capital at the end of the year?
We have to get permission from the
You'd have to go to
voters.
Voters, wouldn't you?
Well, the enterprise funds are a little different.
They are.
Yes, so
That's a good
let
question.
me ask the auditor.
So I'm thinking, if
You're
we
the first
cut it
person
from
I've
40 to
ever said.
20, but then they save 10,000 because prices drop, it would only make sense to put back where we cut.
Where we took it.
Yeah, let me ask that question. I'll ask the auditor about it.
My electric may be high, and because I'm really not sure about the credits. The wastewater plant has been getting a whole bunch of credits for the solar fields that are down there, and I don't know exactly where that's going. So there could be some cost savings there.
I cut that already.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Well,
You're good, I got it.
good, yay. Thanks. So let's do start at the top. And, go through, start at 020, water fund.
No question with that one.
Nothing there. Watershed, there's a big increase. Operating supplies.
650%. I just want to know, we went from $200 for operating supplies and watershed to looking for $1,500. And then I look back at what we've been spending on that line item of $153, $100, $2,200. That's a 650% increase. Why? What are we doing?
Well, first of all, Jeff and I started taking care of it. We, like this summer or winter when all the trees are down, we cut those up. We have gone out and gotten a chainsaw and a pole saw. We cut the branches back so you can get to it without having to climb over a 48-inch tree. We also mow up to the dam because we have seen an increase in the rattlesnakes, and a lot of people walk their pets and walk up there. So the shorter the grass, the less they're going to be hiding in it. And at least once a year, we do go all the way around the pond to make sure there's access if anything does happen, fire standpoint and injury standpoint from a hiker.
I understand that, but I'm going to come back to the general ledger that I just got with 2 weeks left to go. And it says watershed for the line item for operating supplies had $200 put in it, and it shows nothing has been spent. But yet I'm going to put 1,500 in there, and I'm just trying to put the numbers together and see why don't the numbers.
And some of that, I will perfectly accept a lot of blame for that. I mean, I've only been doing this a little over a year, and I've asked Joe for some guidance, and he's helped me. There are bills and things that I am getting that I might be taking out of the wrong line item. Because I think in there there's a permit fee for the $600 for the 3 dams, but I saw that still sitting in there, which should have gone out this past spring, because every year we have to pay that for our permit fee for those dams. So I know right there I took it out of the wrong line item.
No, you're good. I took care of that.
Oh, well.
It is still sitting there, but yeah, that bill just came through last month.
So can we roll the dice and drop that a little bit?
Well, I'm not looking for, if it all adds up in the end, but the reason I went back and looked at the general ledger and look at what the budget is, I'm saying, here was my other budget, here's what I spent. Here's what you say you're going to be spending in the coming year. They didn't match for me.
I guess it's like if you bought a piece of property beside yours, all right, now all of a sudden you need, you know, for a house, I'm just saying, okay, you need a big lawnmower now. You need more saws, you need more blades, a new trimmer, so on and so forth, because you've got twice as much. That never used to be taken care of before. The first 3 years I was here, I was only up to that dam once. Now we're up there once a week. Same as with the south tank.
Yeah, but, understood, but on
Well,
that.
you're talking chains for the saws, you're talking files, you're talking tires for the tractor, the lawnmower.
So we're going out this year, see, that's all we're going out this year replacing a bunch of stuff we'd never replaced in the past.
Well,
And is it one-time spending?
well, we've bought that, and there again, it may have come out of the wrong line item when we bought the chainsaw for that purpose, but it's not just for the watershed. See, and that's where sometimes I get confused, because it also cuts the wood up at the south tank, which would be water lines, not the watershed. You know, so I may be to blame for some of these line items not being accurate, as accurate as they should be.
But at the end of the day, when I look at the water total expenditures, I'm sitting here with 2 weeks left to go in the year. Forget about where it went. I've only used 71.8% of the budget that went in.
And like I said, I could spend that by January. I have, like my house, if I need to buy a car, I save up and buy it after. I've spent $15,000, I believe, or $16,000 in the last 2 weeks for projects and stuff that I was waiting until this time of year to make sure that I didn't need the money last November. I could be, like I said, I mean, I can spend that money and come to you right now and say, all right, I'm 120% of my budget instead of only 75%.
You've been doing a great job at taking care of your budget. What I'm just trying to get right in my mind, I'm looking at a proposed budget that we're gonna set rates on of 12.77% increase in the water fund. I'm looking over at my period 12 water, and it's saying the budget that we had last year, we're not going to, we're not going to use that. So I'm saying, by looking at that, I'm saying.
Okay, let's not repeat this 400 times. Do you want to take some money off that?
I sure do.
Okay, how much?
I'm looking to, when we come back on some of these right here.
We're talking philosophy and brass tacks.
We're talking real, I think that increases greater than it should be. I think you should be at, for the operating supplies, to going from 200 to 1,500. Even if we took $500, I'm all for, we maybe, or whatever, I hear what you're saying, but if we don't start getting a few $1,000s and start working,
So make it 1,000? Make it 1,000 or make it 500? What do you, I didn't get what you were saying. And
I know, I'm not getting anyone else jumping in here. But
chime in.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure it out.
I mean, it's
my concern of just taking and saying cut, quite frankly, if I'm looking at this, I'm saying, if I'm looking at this and this is real, I don't know why I've got an increase in water.
And when I filled out the budget 3 months ago, I probably had an idea or a reason in my head of something that we did want to get, and I couldn't come up with it right now if I had to.
So maybe it would help if I asked the Board of Selectmen so we can move forward. Is there a budget, is there a % increase that you would
I don't
like
want
to
to do
see
that.
added?
I am not gonna sit here and do that. That plays right into what Glenn does, which just is.
Try to save taxpayers money.
No. You just make up a percentage that isn't realistic.
I'm not,
I'm just trying to move the ball.
I know, I understand that. Let's go through the line, and if there's a line that you feel uncomfortable with, we'll cut, or we'll raise, or we'll do it, but to just say.
I didn't look to do
We
that.
may believe that the town budget could live at 3.5% this year, and we're gonna get our ass kicked, frankly.
I don't think that's,
And I don't wanna do that to us again. 12%, 13% is a lot. I'm not arguing with you there. I'm not, I'm just saying that let's see what we can cut and see what that comes up as a percentage, line by line.
again,
Which is what we
rather than
normally do.
shooting from the hip, I look for numbers to take me where, because the numbers are the numbers. They don't lie. They shouldn't. So if I look at what I spent and what was in there, if I put what I spent for the year down there as my starting point, the only thing I've heard so far that's going to go up that we don't know is chemicals. So I'm willing to give some room for that. But I'm saying the rest of the stuff,
Okay, so what, on that line item, what would you think is reasonable? We're going from 200 to 1,500 is a lot. I grant you. But it's not worth a half hour worth of argument.
well, the watershed that you have,
So-
you could easily take $1,000 out of that.
So I guess the question, money aside, what do you need to operate the watershed area if you're thinking $1,500? What are your projected expenses?
We keep fixing an old lawnmower,
Mhm.
and we are still fixing it to use instead of using our Skag lawnmower to go back and forth.
A ride on lawnmower?
Or a tractor, I mean, it doesn't
Okay.
have to be a lawnmower,
Mhm.
you know, to carry the tools, drag the trees all the way, so on and so forth. That's the biggest thing. We also need to, and the people of Fairhaven are very good about this, keeping it clean. Most of the people are the ones that are up there all the time.
Mhm.
They let us know if they find garbage or somebody up there camping and, you know, left a pile or firewood or whatever. We try to keep it clean. It's a pristine source of water. And there's a lot, I guess it's like anything else. You mow the lawn so it doesn't get like this. So we just try to maintain it instead of all of a sudden
Mhm.
doing a whole bunch of work in 2 months.
Sure. So the question would be, what tools do you need that are, you spent 200 this year, you're asking for 1,500 for this upcoming year. Aside from a ride-on lawnmower, is there anything else that you plan to come out of that budget? Because I don't want to short sell you on
Right,
the
no, I
line
understand
item.
that, and unfortunately, apparently I didn't put notes on there why I increased things when I gave you back the sheet. Because like I said, at the time, I probably had something in my head, but, you know, for the most part, it's a chainsaw, just a way to get back and forth and drag limbs out of the way and
But
stuff.
and if we need to change, and even, I'm just saying, instead of going and buying a chain, don't we have chainsaws in DPW that they could drop off a chainsaw, they use a chainsaw? Again,
Well, every time that I need a chainsaw, I'm not gonna go all the way down here and beg to borrow a chainsaw.
getting back to your question on these lineups, why I feel so strongly is when I look at what we're spending right here, I'd take $1,000 out of the operating supplies, I'd take $500 out of the repair and maintenance, and just based on what we're spending. I'm saying the numbers, now if the numbers come back next year and they say, hey, we overran that or whatever right here, okay, but then I'm saying, why'd you overrun? Just so you understand, I'd come back and say, why are you overrunning? You're supposed to watch your budget. You got this much money, don't spend more than that, because that's what the rest of us do with our budgets. That's all I'm saying, Bob, and
I know you got the right attitude, it's just that we're talking philosophy. It's,
I'm talking 12% increase, which is, I believe,
let's dig in. What is, Glenn's proposing taking $1,000
out of
there.
operating under watershed, 6310.
What are the rest of you guys building? I mean, is that a lot, or?
I mean, it seems like a lot, but we also don't have enough information. Because I get what you're saying, Glenn. Like, year over year, if it looks like 200, looks like 200, looks like 200, and now their proposal is 1,500.
Tell me what you're spending.
It's just the information that I'm missing about. Okay,
And
what's the projection?
I'll take the blame for that, I didn't have it.
You know what, I got a sheet right here, says, so we got supplies for the saws, and some PPE for chainsaw work,
yes,
protective equipment for chainsaw.
We
Chaps,
don't
helmets,
have,
gloves.
we don't have chaps. We've only got one helmet with the shield.
What if we did 750? Split the difference. And that's still an increase, but it's not $1,300, it's half of that. Try that and see if we gotta come back, and come back to 500, we will.
Because I think when we get all done and you look at what you're gonna be asking when we finish this process,
I
we'll
know,
be back looking
we
to
may,
get something more reasonable. I
we
think.
may, and we'll probably
But I
cut
get-
the reserve account.
I can support 750 on this
But you've
pass.
already bought a chainsaw?
You want a total of 750 in that one?
So,
Yeah.
And that probably came out of water lines or whatever.
so,
Because
I don't-
whatever we put in, we're
so
gonna
if this
spend.
budget gets cut some, it's not gonna hurt too bad then, if you've already got some. You need some chaps and things like that.
I believe you can get chaps. I don't want anyone to be working unsafe, and if you need ear protection chaps and everything, chainsaw, but 750 is pretty good money.
I'm just saying, I thought when I made the sheets out and gave to Joe, the ones that I did increase, I thought I put notes on them.
He's got
Yeah, I
notes,
got
but
some notes on this
he can inform us as we go. Repair and maintenance supplies was another one we talked about.
To date, we spent $578.95 on that one right there. Move that one to 700, and they're more than
Okay.
covered for this time.
700, okay? We're guessing. I mean.
No, but I'm
And
That's what
like
you're
all
doing
the rest of us, we definitely do try to stay within the budget. I mean,
Yeah, nobody's questioning that. The next one, next obvious one is the water lines repair and maintenance. It's up $4,000.
one of those is, and I've been looking at them, DPW just got one. We have an old wand locator for the shut-offs and stuff. I'm looking to get a newer one that can tell you where it's at, how deep, so on and so forth, like DPW just got. Those are like $1,400, and those are I'm not gonna say the cheapest, but they are far from the high end also. That was one thing I wanted to replace in all of that budget that I put in there.
And that one there was 3,500 this year in the budget. You've spent 5,851, so I'm saying that's 7,000. So the 7,500, it's not bad. It's right in the right ballpark. When this closes out, you're going to be a little over 6,000. So I'm going. That one's looks
Okay.
like it's in the ballpark.
So let's move on. Water meters look pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing we should have left for those is to keep emergency supply, and I consider that like one box. This past year, even though it wasn't very cold, and I think people weren't prepared, or didn't prepare, we had a rough year on frozen meters. We had 8 this past winter.
Really?
Yeah, so that's the only thing that we should need now for meters. These aren't repairable, so we don't need any repair supplies. Basically, it's replacement, which is gaskets and, tin on the shelf for meters.
Question on the
I do
meters.
have a question on that
Okay.
when you get a chance. It's my understanding these meters have had a shelf life 20 years.
Guaranteed for 20 years, yes.
Are we making provisions somewhere here for that to come, or are we just gonna be?
I have
caught with our
been
pants down?
fighting for that,
When the time
whether
comes.
it's been put in or not.
Going to a
Because-
reserve account?
I'm gonna blame this one on, or not blame it, I'm gonna let Joe answer this one because I have said it since day one. And it's not that these meters are gonna fail 20 years in one day, but you are gonna need to replace 21, 22 years from now, 900 or whatever meters. Because that's what we
So,
put in.
we wanna consider that in this too.
Well, but not, we haven't done, when we do, are we considering, we're not paying for that here, we're gonna do it when we do our budget in the fall.
It should be in our,
To talk about
should be,
reserve.
It should be every year,
We'll
and
put it in
No,
reserve, if you wanna put,
It's water and sewer.
yeah, but, okay.
It'd be reserved. It'd be, so Mike's right, since even before we started the meters, he's like, we need to think about the future of these meters, and he has said that we need to put more money in the reserve account for future meter replacement.
What was the total cost this time around?
190.
Thousand,
Yeah.
yeah. I
20
mean,
years from now,
but it
say
would-
150, 3 times, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. If they're even, or if this technology is even available, I mean, it might be
Right.
something where you're putting up towers and sitting in an office and pushing a button and shutting them off, turning them on, or whatever.
That'd be cool technology.
Actually, it's out there.
It's out
but
there.
They would be millions of dollars to put in.
but where do we go with that? I mean,
But there's, there again though,
We start
and,
building the reserve account now. That's
but then
what you
Glenn
do.
does have a point. Future boards, 10, 15 years from now are gonna say, geez, you got $180,000 in this account, why are we keep putting $20,000, $30,000 away every year?
Well,
It
you have,
needs to be noted what is
Well,
there and
what
don't
it is-
touch it.
in that account, you may have
And
to
what's
break
the goal?
down the roof, but you ought to spell out, this is
well,
replace meters, this is for the
that's what I
roof,
think
this
my,
is.
that's what I think part of the problem is here. It's not being spelled out quite good enough for people to understand.
okay, now where are you asking that question?
I was asking that question. I've
But
heard.
that would be reserve account, right?
Well, I would think so, but I don't know exactly how it works.
I mean,
Reserve.
we've had them, what, 4 years now, I think? They were 185 when we started this. These last ones that I've had to get are $227.
And they're not gonna go down. But the point is there are gonna be years that we can put 40,000 in the reserve account. There are gonna be years that we can't.
Right.
But we can't, and so we need to have some sort of goal. It's legitimate to say what the maximum of the reserve account is, but we have to have the planning that we need to know. We need to know that we're gonna
You know,
need,
20 years from now, it could be $500,000.
right,
And
but we need to at least be in there someplace.
and it would be nice to know as we're talking, the reason I'm a little hesitant to say, when you're saying, okay, well, because we're gonna get to the water capital improvement under the reserve accounts.
Yeah.
But if you can't tell me what's in the reserve account, like for example, is it 200,000, is it 400,000? Because then it makes a big difference if you're sitting there saying,
Right.
if you've got enough money to cover the roof, to cover replacing the meters right now, and we're still trying to, what is it that you're,
We don't have it, but I mean, it's legitimate to ask that question.
The original,
Why isn't that, it used to be on the end of the report, end of the 2-week budget report.
Now, I used to just keep a copy in my folder, and
right, you used to.
I took it out and then
It's
I
great
just-
to see
Well, it should-
the general ledger. to
If we
see
could
what
just
it is.
have it on a regular general ledger fund at the end, so we can have that for reference, because it does come up quite often.
Is there a section in the town plan that we're renewing that spells out the intentions behind each reserve account? What the
Not in
vision
the town
is?
plan.
Would that be a spot for it?
Possible, I never thought of it. That's a good question, I don't know. It should be, I mean,
Somewhere.
the title tells most of the time, but it doesn't say, for instance, it says water, what's it called? It's a water reserve account. And that's all it says. It doesn't say roof, meters, whatever. It's kind of like native knowledge, I guess, you know, you either know what it's for or you don't. And it's reasonable to have that kind of a,
and the first 190,000 for this whole project did come out of our reserve fund, I do remember
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
because we had the,
Yeah.
we're saying, yeah, let's,
Yeah.
yeah, but you notice I didn't bring up sinking fund or what, I don't
Oh,
know. There's even, there's some stray little, but it's not big, little money, but.
thank you for that.
I won't even try to go there. But I think,
I don't
short
know.
answer, I think the meters one, I'm happy with, what's sitting there, that's, there's nothing.
Yeah, and like I said, that shouldn't need to increase for 15 years. It's just a matter of, like I said, keeping
But that-
a few on the shelf for when they do freeze, we don't have to wait to order them.
Right, but that is not where you would put future monies for, that would go in reserve account, right?
Right, that is
Right.
correct, on the end, down here.
So the two things we need to know, and they don't have to be, we need to know what we have and what is a basic guess that we're gonna need in 16 years.
Good luck with that.
All right, there's one thing you don't have to worry about. You ain't gonna hear me arguing. But,
If it's a big dollar item, we're gonna go and bond it and go to the voters anyway, so I can't.
yeah, you don't have, if you don't have to, that's.
We're buying
You
trucks.
can just include it in the bond for the new water plant at that point.
They're right, they're the next.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so I'm at water treatment facility unless anybody else is in a different place.
Nope, that's where I am.
Operating supplies is a big guy.
In the operating, so even, it's the same number that I saw when I looked at this for the first time.
Right.
So even going and getting a discount and everything, we're still pretty comfortable that 40,000 is a real number.
That would be level funding what I had this year and then adding what I'm anticipating to spend for chemicals. So yes, it's doubled, but chemicals pretty much ate up or will eat up that whole budget if we don't double it.
I'm using the same approach. The reason I asked the question, I want to use the same approach again, and saying under operating supplies on that one right there, it looked like 20,000 was put in the budget. With a couple weeks to go, we spent $28,812.71. So what we're saying is these high-priced chemicals, we haven't paid for any of them yet.
No.
What we're gonna do is buy for the first time these high-priced, for both water and sewer. The reason I look at you, Carrie, too, is because I thought we've been paying, we've been paying right along.
Mine are in there,
Yours are in there.
yeah.
So that's the reason I come back and say that if, I haven't looked at your numbers, right, but I'm saying, I think I've been paying the higher price. And when I look at the 40,000, I'm going, it looks like it's 29. Let's say it's going to be 30. I want to take 10,000 out of that and call it 30,000, based on what we actually spent with 2 weeks to go. Is there a big bill that hasn't been paid that just got delivered last week that's going to make this change substantially? Because if not, I believe it's going to go up from 20,000. No question, it's going to go up. And I'm not ready to say keep it 20,000 or anything like that. I don't believe in taking that kind of risk. But when I look, the numbers I'm looking at, and I believe I've been paying this kind of price.
We spent 28, but you haven't seen a price increase yet, is what you're saying?
Well, I haven't seen a full year. For the last 7 months, I've been using things out of totes until we got these new tanks plumbed and so on and so forth. I just got my first deliveries within the last month to see these new prices.
And those numbers are in.
Yeah,
I think.
I mean, the PO was 3 weeks ago for the 5,000 for the caustic.
And I'm willing for you to push right back, Mike. You can, of saying, no, 30,000 is too low, take only 5,000 and let's meet halfway and do 35. And I'm going, I still say $5,000 that I'm not, because I'm afraid I'm going to be taking monies.
I'd be more comfortable with that.
35.
35. Just, if we're at 28 now, at the end of the year, and things are going.
2 weeks, I don't know.
I know, and so you're gonna be at 30, and we have the other end of that story is we're not buying, we're buying 1,000 gallons instead of
3,000.
So we're not gonna get an economy.
35 lets you sleep good at night there, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just looking.
And I had told Joe before, it's like, right now inflation's running at, say, just 8%. And I understand you guys wanna keep it at 2.5%, 3%. Theoretically, you've just cut the budget 5%. And that's without even approving any increases or anything else.
You can take over for me, because I said that in the other budget.
And it's like the rest of us, we feel the same thing in our house too. I mean, it's no different, it's just the town instead of, my house or your budget, or and right now it's a crapshoot with prices.
Yeah.
Well, let's do 35, and hope for the best.
Good.
Other purchase services is
Yeah, that's the other purchase services, the other one that jumps out. And on other
What is
purchase-
that for? Testing?
Well, testing inline for the labs, yes, but it's also, we've been like redoing some of the electronics and stuff, so we've had a company called RASP come in and help us. If we need, well, the snake guy doesn't count, so I'm just trying to come up with things. Dorrance to pump out our tank, holding tank. Those are other services that we buy, but they're not, on a line item. So that's the other purchase services.
So
Or like Danny Gray coming up, we just had a
Doing
couple
some
starters
electrical.
rebuilt.
But, so I look at that and it says, okay, we had 8,750 was in the budget. 2 weeks ago, we've only spent $6,679.79, or 76% of the budget. So unless there's something additional you want to add there, I'd be saying, why isn't that still 8,750? Probably, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt, it's going to come in 7,000, and it's going to come in under 8,000 at a worst case scenario. And I don't see why that one, unless there's something additional again on top of what we normally do, I'd say that one should be level.
I'm not sure, Joe,
There's
is
a note?
RASP's in there?
There's no notes. There's no notes.
Well, I don't think we had a thing at the, or an amount at the time, but did that get thrown into the budget report as far as the figure that they just gave
Where
us?
are we end up spending 7
No.
So that's probably why that increase is in there.
Yeah, that number, I didn't change these numbers.
Uh,
Whatever
we
it was.
spent-
So that is why that's in there, because that's like $8,000 to finish all of our electrical, new wires, new control panel.
But that wouldn't pay for it if you add 8,000 to that, doesn't. You wouldn't have enough. So what you're saying is you're gonna do some extra electrical?
What line item is this thing?
It's a line item 020 6380 56.
56.
What's the name of that?
It's
Other
purchase
purchase
services.
This is a one-time electrical upgrade?
Yes.
Wouldn't this?
This should bring us up to the 21st century instead of the original wiring and our control box that would take up that whole wall.
I think we would probably take that out of.
Take it out of reserve.
Capital.
Capital
I was
reserve.
gonna-
Take it out of capital reserve. Don't put it here.
I was
That's
gonna
what
say
I-
that.
And like I said, this is where I'm learning, so.
No.
Anything that's like a permanent upgrade?
So we're.
Capital.
Capital or sinking or whatever.
Should be.
I agree with you there.
Can
I was gonna
you
say that.
get their electrical from reserve or a different fund? We can get that. So what I hear is we're gonna keep that 8,750. We're gonna level load that.
Okay, like I said, and that's, our labs, testing, DNA Gray comes up.
That,
or,
yeah.
That
That
Dorrance
makes sense.
come up, that type of stuff.
Okay. Anything else?
I go for every dollar, so let me just, the licensing, it looks like there's one for licenses and registration. It doubled, 100%, $500. We got some additional licensors we need or something?
I've been taking, there again, my assumption was that that's where, like Jeff's classes to be a certification should come out of the test money, every time he takes a test, it costs money. I just had my license renewed. And, we have to go to trainings, Carrie has to go to trainings to, keep our certifications up to date.
And the only reason I highlighted, I looked at what $500 was in there. We've spent $455, we're 91%, we're gonna come in right on at 500. I'm saying, why aren't we 500 again? $500 at a time, it all adds up, it's real money.
But you got,
Is there someone?
Just one, you just took it too. The
I paid for
training
mine.
course was like 180,000.
Yeah, but I paid that out of mine. I paid it out of.
No, but I'm saying the price, isn't that like 180
It was
bucks?
220.
What was it? So every training class to prepare for the test, It's $220.
So we need, I mean, it's just.
Well, no, I'm just trying to clarify what it's for, that's all.
I just wanted to be consistent with when I saw something double,
Mhm.
look and say, okay, did we spend it? Looks like we're gonna come in at 500.
Yep.
What's gonna be different is we probably have another one or two training and certification that you're anticipating.
Right, and for the last few years, Tom was certified, I was
I
certified, so
can
we didn't
for-
have those
For
expenses.
the $1,000, I'm
Now
not.
that Jeff's new, a year and a half,
We'll keep that.
we gotta get him
Right.
up to speed, and then it'll be just to maintain the certification.
It's worth it.
So that's legitimate then, probably, right?
Yeah,
Leave it as is.
I'm okay with leaving, I just wanted to understand
Yeah,
what was going on, that was all.
Okay, anything there, the principal payments, we don't really have a lot of argument there.
No,
So we're back to the reserve account, all the benefits are free will mandated.
Yep.
So, let's talk reserve accounts.
Can I talk benefits before we
Go ahead.
go there? Because on the benefits, I looked at retirement, the one on top, I just was looking for, that's going from 9,600 to 11,000. I looked at retirement that we're doing this year, and we've only spent 6,243.62, or 65%. Do we have a retirement I'm not aware of that's gonna happen, that's gonna drive that up?
Isn't that salary driven?
That is, yeah, it's 100% salary driven, so when.
And it was a big increase in salaries, so
Yeah.
there's gonna be a big increase in
And
retirement.
retirement, so that's the, we didn't see that. See, I thought we saw the
There's a
big,
killing.
You did it.
wait a minute, I thought we saw the big increase in salary when we went from 7,900 to 9,000 that we budgeted. So when we put 9,600,
That's good.
again, is June the increase so great that we're gonna go from 9,600 to $11,000 for retirement?
So yeah, it's all calculated, and I didn't do these, but it's all based on, like Carrie said, it's all based on salaries. Everybody did get a pay raise, and everybody got another big pay raise, so. We can run the calculations
No.
again just to see, but it
It's just-
is what it is. It's this
No,
kind
the
of-
reason I highlighted it really is, I hope I don't have anyone retiring up there. We need you.
No.
I mean, that was really, okay, now we can move on here, thank you for indulging me with that.
That's all right. Capital improvement, we're talking 20,000 more than we did last year, but it's level funded from 21, 22. So, what's your pleasure, folks?
Yeah, I gotta go back to that idea of what is in the account right now. That's the best.
I don't wanna make that decision until I find out what's there.
Well, okay.
And then when I do, if it's what I think is there, I want that to be 20,000, not 40,000. Because that's what's gonna move that 12.77.
Well, it's gonna help. I
Dollar.
agree. But are we also just thinking of a new roof, or are we thinking of meters and all that? And what do we need to be at? You know, and that's granted, it's a guess, but we need
I
to.
thought
if it's gonna
about
take
2
us-
years, 2 years ago, we got together and we looked at
I
our
know,
reserve
we
accounts.
never did that.
But I sat with the board that we actually put some numbers down as the target. We did put
I
targets.
don't think you
I
were.
wasn't
You weren't on the board,
That was the
you weren't on the
year
board,
you
but we
got
did put target numbers
Every
down.
box now is.
And I just wanna see where we are on the target.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
That's the reason.
I'm sorry, I've been through that a year now for.
So can you
years.
get us back water with, I mean, we're getting close here, so
Yeah.
at next meeting, we should have water rates with a reduction or $40,000. We should have it both ways.
Yep,
And whatever-
I'll bring options with rates.
Yeah.
Like we did last time, we'll bring a couple options that show what it looks like to,
And percentage, I
And
mean,
it's the same one, see, we have Carrie here, that was my same thing on sewer, it was saying, no, not jumping up to 40,000. Give me a 20,
For operating supplies, you mean?
for the capital improvement on the reserve.
Oh, I'm comfortable with 20,000.
Well, that's what I looked at and said, new facility, we just got a new truck.
Well-
Folks, there's.
That new facility spent whole last week not running right.
Oh, yeah, I understand, but I'm looking going, folks, because both of those, that 40 goes to 20, that 8.64% probably ends up 5.5.
Comes closer to 5.
5. The 20 on the other, the only reason I'm looking, I probably will come down to 8 from where it is, so it's 5 and 8. And I'm saying, that's a pretty good increase, but I'm saying, I think we've done our job of sharpening the pencils and not, there's no fluff in that.
So we'll need-
Believe me.
No.
We'll need those options for the next meeting because we have to pass the budget next meeting. Right?
Yes.
Everybody? And we'll see where we are. Is there anything else?
So you wanna, so you talking about cutting that capital improvement back to $20,000.
That's what-
Sure.
And that's all our major improvements, upgrades on the roof, meter replacement down the road. Is that gonna be enough?
Probably not.
That's why we
It's
want to
never,
take a look
when
first.
you're spending money, it's, for me, it's never enough. How much money, whatever money we put, we're gonna spend. I'm confident of it.
So there is, the water plant roof does need to be replaced, and that is a discussion we have to have probably at the next meeting.
Yep, to take
Oh,
out the
good.
reserve account and fix the roof.
Yeah,
We
it's
got-
that time of year to talk about it, so.
A lot like putting tanks in.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I get it.
Okay. So, we all good?
I am, thank you.
We beat you up enough for one night or?
Hey, I appreciate,
No, and like I said, it's still a learning curve for me, and any advice I'll be more than glad to listen to, and hopefully if Joe beats it in my head enough, I'll get the money taken out of the right places.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a learning thing. The worst part about it is for us, is to know what it's gonna be spent on. I mean, and there's not a lot of fluff in either one of these budgets.
No.
There's a little more in DPW and the general fund, but not a lot there either.
And the invitation's still out there. I know you've been out, one's been out. You guys can come up, take a tour anytime you would like. I'd be glad to show you around and
I'm long overdue for.
see the new tanks.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I gotta go.
Jeff, like, in there again, I mean, our capital budget could be a lot higher if the things that have been done were hired out. Jeff and I have done a lot of the work ourselves.
And we appreciate that work
That's
you're
worth a
doing
lot.
yourselves. We do.
Okay, guys, well,
Thank you.
unless anybody's got something else we haven't beat them up about.
No, well.
So chemicals was pretty much the only real question on,
For us,
On sewer.
we really just needed
You're
to
Yeah,
hear that you're doing
Do
what we
the
expect,
best you
know.
can. You know our concerns. Do the
Yeah.
best you can, and we trust you.
my two big ones are sludge and chemicals. Those are the ones that kill
We're
me.
still going rolling, right?
Yeah, well, Rutland, we're having a problem with it, but, because Rutland will only take it once a week right now, because their plant is not running right. So I'm actually working on a deal with Schenectady again. It won't cost us any different because sending it to Schenectady, what we will spend on the trucking, we'll actually spend less on the disposal. So I may have to send some there because my tank is full. But
Well,
that's not gonna.
That's a.
But I am going to lose that edge
What?
eventually, very soon, within the next year.
Really?
So that when we run into problems in the future with not being able to take it to Rutland, I still can probably send it to Schenectady, but I probably won't get as much of a deal on it. So we need to be aware of that too
That's,
down the road. And I've been like trying to think of like, is it worth trying to get a belt press and pressing some of it? I've been running some numbers to see if we can process it down a little bit more in-house. But we'll get there. I know we had talked about maybe putting a solar panel
Solar
over
panels, I was gonna say.
over some of my equipment. When we put in the solar panels, we lost all of our trees, and so now I've got algae growing everywhere. So we're thinking of maybe putting some solar panels in as shade, and it could multi-purpose electricity
And shade.
and get the shade that I need over my areas that don't have shade.
And Mike, if we never sell water up there, we'd get some revenue coming in.
That's another thing too, we had kind of talked about a little bit, is there's not an easy place that you can monitor, you know, like selling water if a water truck wants to come and fill up. And I know that you guys are like, so, you know, like thinking about your water rates and your sewer rates, but let me tell you, go on a well. And you'll pay whatever you want, because when you run out, when you're on a well, it's the worst thing in the world. So, but anyway, a lot of the towns actually have a backflow preventer that actually has a meter on it, so you can just tap into that hydrant. It's metered right there, so
And
possibilities of
We're
revenue.
looking for meters right now. That's, not a proposal, but a thing that we're looking at for the hydrant right over here in the park. Because like last year, you had Quake there, you had everybody there. And as you said, of course, it has to be backflow prevented, because those trucks and hoses they use are God only knows where. But they'd make the backflow preventers with the meters right on them. You know, they start today at such and such a number, they finish the day at such and such a number, and that's what they get charged for water. With no danger of anything seeping back into the system.
Yeah, and part of that too is like having an area where you can actually write a ticket, so that somebody gets their ticket right then. The meter is read, they take their ticket to the office, they pay their bill. So I think that's part of what we need to do, is look at ways that we can
No, any of that revenue.
boost some revenue,
generating.
because some of these expenses, in reality, we really can't can't cut. Our sludge trucking is never going to go down. It's always gonna continue to go up. Processing is never gonna go down, because the plant, wherever we send it to, their expenses are gonna go up, just like ours are. So they're never gonna give us a reduction. Those are areas that you aren't gonna be able to cut. Wages are gonna continue going up, or you're not gonna have people. So in our industry, you've gotta try and find ways that you can create revenue and not necessarily cut expenses.
Yeah. Ideally, take it, press it, and then sell it.
Yeah, well, they're doing a lot with, they're trying, state of Vermont put an end to land application. They went nuts over it, you know, all of the phosphorus and the PFOs and PFAs. But now there's actually, it's coming full circle again, and they're realizing that they maybe need to go back to land apply. So there is a plant in Burlington that has gotten Class A, and the Agency of Transportation is actually using their sludge when they go through and they do road projects and they have to go back in and fix the areas. They're actually using it. So, but that is some expensive equipment.
Yeah,
So-
and we ran into such a huge problem here. We got into, it was almost to the fact we were thinking we were getting sabotaged.
Yeah, I think that it probably was,
Yeah,
from the sounds of it.
at the time. It was ugly.
Yeah.
It was ugly, but who knows?
But as the whole nature kit comes back around again, I mean, everything goes in cycles. So,
Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks,
We
guys.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Don Chaffee.
Any questions? You know where I work?
His bumper sticker.
Go and visit.
His bumper sticker, when they were spraying, we're making snow from the effluent. That was a proposal at Killington. So he made a bumper sticker that said, Killington, where the effluent meets the affluent. It was quite clever.
Okay.
All right, let's move on. Anything in that parking lot that jumps out?
Well, I kinda got a question on our progress of our engineering study for our
Town barn.
town barn.
Yep, that guy's waiting on me. I finally did talk to, I forget his name. He's waiting on me to get him those plans that we had that we got from it, I think we got it from D&K. He's gonna take and look at those and give us an estimate, and then loop that into what the groundwork looks like, the dirt work. So, but he's waiting on me. I'm slowing that process down.
Oh, okay.
Not intentionally.
Speed her up.
Yep,
That's important.
it is.
Anything else? Roundtable.
The only thing I have is we got a couple of blind spots there. I mentioned to Joe earlier. That Allen Street, I don't know if you got my message or not, but it is a bit of a bush. It's overgrown there on that corner. As you come off Allen onto Carnarvon and you look towards the apple tree, you can't see a thing. So it's, and then Center Street onto Academy, there's a couple bushes there that are a little bit problem child. Well, that's all I've had. So many complaints I've had.
Oh, not too much. The only thing that comes to mind right now is the issues with that Pulteney's experiencing with some of the teens in town. And then I see our park getting vandalized. If there's a way to just increase our police traffic in certain areas, just so that there's more visibility. And I've seen them go down to the playground area, but it sounds like it's more than just a playground now. I don't want to be in a spot that Pulteney's in.
We're actually working with the school. The school's gonna potentially improve their cameras out there,
Okay.
and we're working with them to eliminate blind spots.
Mhm.
Something that I talked to them this week, in fact. They did get the person, the vandal that was out there last week, 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
They got him on camera. It was too dark to see him. So I think it might behoove us in the next budget to do some serious lighting down there. I'm not a big, in my personal opinion, I'm not a big fan of Big Brother cameras out there, but lighting goes a long way.
I'm all set.
The only thing I got is, the planning commission is down one member, so if we can advertise, see if we can get one. If not, we'll have to tread back on the annual slip back to 5 from 7 to split. I'd rather we get another commissioner, if we could. If we could advertise for that.
Advertise.
Having said that, financials, did everybody sign?
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve the payroll of $35,668.11.
Second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
Make a motion to sign the warrant for $139,172.95.
I'll second that too.
What was the big expenditure, 73?
73 for
All
appropriation.
They paid out the last chunk of appropriation.
Sure. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Checkbook?
And the checkbook status is $683,509.59.
Do we have executive session?
Yep, there's no executive session tonight. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Well, it says there's an executive session.
Yeah, I think it just started with personnel, but it didn't give any,
Oh.
Yeah, I only deleted like half of it, but yeah, there's
didn't
nothing
get
on it.
deleted out.
Yeah.
Is there a second to Glenn's very favorable motion?
Motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?